This movie has bigger plot holes than Adam Driver's nose. The plot holes in this movie are big. What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Alex Reviews. Today on the chopping block we have Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. So this review is probably going to be a lot shorter than my typical reviews. This will probably be 5 minutes or so, because there's not too much to talk about this movie that anyone else hasn't already really said about it. It's bad. I'm just going to say that if you just want to see my blanket statement on this movie, it's bad. Now, I'm going to say that you kind of have to watch this movie if you're a Star Wars fan, just to see how not to do a Star Wars movie. And look, I'm saying that this movie is bad, and this is coming from somebody who kind of liked The Last Jedi. Yeah, I didn't hate Last Jedi like most Star Wars fans. I thought it was a pretty decent movie. A lot of people complained about Luke Skywalker changing characters. He's always been a whiny little brat. He was never one of my favorite characters anyways. I love you, Mark Hamill, but I don't think Luke was that great of a character to begin with, so I'm not surprised in him acting the way that he did in Last Jedi. But, man, Rise of Skywalker sucked. So I'm not going to talk about the plot of the movie because, honestly, you just kind of have to watch this movie just to see how bad it really is. There's no really explaining why it's bad if you haven't seen it. So if you haven't seen Rise of Skywalker, just know you're going to be disappointed. Very much so, because I was looking forward to it. I wanted to go see it on premiere night. I was unable to see it on premiere night, so I think I saw it on the Saturday that it came out, and I took two of my friends with me, and we're all three big Star Wars nuts. They both hated Last Jedi. Before we went to the movie, I had an argument with them that Last Jedi was good, and this movie was going to be good, and boy, what did I look like a fool when I came out of the theater. They had introduced Palpatine as the bad guy in even Last Jedi. I think it probably would have worked best if it was going to be in Force Awakens, but even if they introduced Palpatine in Last Jedi, I would have been satisfied, and it would not have seemed just like a completely random dart thrown at the wall. I don't understand why they couldn't come up with something. I don't get why Palpatine existed in this movie. Why does he have to be the one and only big bad guy? And my other biggest complaint about this movie is that they make shit up. Now, I know a lot of people say that they did this in the previous films a part of this trilogy, but wow, did they just make stuff up in this one. It starts even in the first scene, where you have Poe and Finn, and they're just jumping light speed through 30 different galaxies. And it's like, how can you even kill somebody if they just keep light speeding away? You're invincible at that point. You can't introduce something and make it really hard, and then later on it's just like, yeah, this is how we get out of every single situation. We just jump to light speed, jump to light speed, jump to light speed. And then probably the one that hurt me the most is that the Force can now heal people. What? It's a real shame of what Star Wars has become now. It seems like they're only in it for the money. Star Wars is nothing like it was. If I had to rate the trilogy itself, I would love to rewatch all three of them back to back to back, because I've done that with the prequels, and I've done that with the original trilogy. I went in with high hopes. I came out disappointed. And I still don't understand why they switched directors mid-trilogy. Why did they go from J.J. Abrams to Ron Howard, then back to J.J. Abrams? Why? What was the point? And all it did was feel like 7 and 9 feel like completely different movies. If you watch Force Awakens and then you watch Rise of Skywalker, you won't tell that it's the same trilogy. You can watch A New Hope and then Return of the Jedi and understand that they're a part of the same trilogy. You cannot get that from Force Awakens to Rise of Skywalker. I've probably ranted too long about nothing, but there's not much I can say about this movie. I do think Finn was the biggest waste of potential in any movie ever. Like, why did you waste my time with Finn? Also, he has this big thing in this movie where he's trying to ask Rey something, or he has to tell Rey something. I don't even remember. And I don't think he ever does. And I don't know what he would have told her or asked her. I have no idea. They got rid of Rose from the last movie. I mean, and by got rid of her, I mean they shoved her to the side. I think she was a harmless character. They tried to give Poe some depth. You can't give depth to a character in a trilogy in the final movie. It has to at least start somewhere, like with Rey. And I think they tried to do that with Finn. But after the first movie, they just gave up on him and made him a side character that's just always asking questions. And at least you can give an argument for Last Jedi that Kylo was an interesting and good character. And then there's this movie where he's not. And it's bad. I think it's just bad direction who they picked for the directors. Like, I like J.J. Abrams, don't get me wrong. I think he's a good director. But still, I don't understand the direction switch from J.J. Abrams to Ron Howard. That's like getting Quentin Tarantino to do a movie and then asking Michael Bay to do a sequel to it. It's completely opposite. Just bad direction is what I'm going to blame it on. It seems like they were in it just for the money, or at least with all their other franchises, just about, not all, but just about all their other franchises, you can kind of be like, well, there's a story there, like with Frozen, for example. In my Frozen 2 review, I explained, this wasn't necessary, no, but they took their time on it, they did well with it, they actually attempted to do something, and it was good. Toy Story 4, exact same thing, unnecessary. However, they made it necessary, and they made it a amazing movie. But with Star Wars, they seem to have just kind of pushed it to the side, and yeah, it's just kind of there to make money, which it did. I'll give them that, it did, but it's still not a good movie. And I'm scared for Star Wars in the future. I think they'll do great with TV shows. I think that's what they need to stick to. And if you're gonna do another movie, get a director that knows what he's doing. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload by The Disney Nerd. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.